Love is Blind Season 10 just dropped their reunion episode, and it was a pretty intense hour and a half. Let's talk about where the Ohio couples are now. If you were looking for the reunion episode and couldn't find it with the rest of the season, that's because Netflix released it as its own special. Love is Blind brought back participants from past seasons, even accompanying a slideshow with a live performance to celebrate all the married couples. If you've been here since the beginning of the series, you know that the majority of the couples don't tend to work out. But when they do, they end up forming some of the most genuine relationships we've witnessed on reality TV. Let's start with Vic and Christine. They were the only ones who didn't go to Mexico, but they're also the ones still married. From the get-go, Vic and Christine seemed most interested in spending time with one another and weren't involved in any of the drama. They said "I do" at the altar and confirmed they have been happily together ever since. The worst things they had to say about each other were that Vic has an Angry Birds obsession and Christine can't sleep without socks. And honestly, that only makes their relationship more wholesome. Next, we have Amber and Jordan, the only other couple who tied the knot. But things did not work out for the pair, to put it lightly. Their marriage lasted only 4 months before Jordan made the decision to break up. He explained that Amber had trust issues that were difficult to overcome, and for him, the negatives of their relationship outweighed the positives. On the other side of things, Amber questioned whether Jordan was ready for marriage since, instead of moving in, he drove up to visit her on weekends. She storms off the stage in tears when speaking about how much the split hurt her 7-year-old daughter, but does return later on. If there's one thing to take away from their on-screen conversation, it's that they unfortunately just were not the right fit. There were a number of couples who didn't make it down the aisle, and we're glad that Chris and Jessica were one of them. Chris called off their relationship, saying the attraction wasn't there, and then hit on Bri while she was engaged to Connor. Now, many members of the Pod Squad called Chris out for his behavior, and Nick Lachey didn't hold back with his line of questioning. The host tells him to go work things out with a therapist, but Chris didn't seem to have much of a defense for the criticism coming his way. Whether it was nerves or PR training, he was definitely staying as quiet as possible. Jessica obviously deserved better, and the good news is she got it. She reveals that she's been dating Dr. Harimal Gill, who she had originally connected with in the pods. Harimal declares his love for Jessica while in the audience and says he's grateful she gave him a second chance. We might not have seen much of them, but these two are already one of my favorite Love is Blind couples. Now, Bri may have called off her wedding to Connor, but the two shared some very happy news at the reunion. Not only are they still together, but they're next-door neighbors in Columbus. Even though Chris tried to go after Bri behind his friend's back, she admits that there was never a choice between the two men. She confesses that she wasn't the best version of herself during the experiment, but has come to realize that she truly loves Connor and he truly loves her. And to take things a step further, Bri hopes they'll make it down the aisle for real. It's not an official proposal, but we're getting there. Up next is Ashley and Alex, who had a pretty explosive breakup at the altar. When Alex is asked to say "I do," Ashley cuts in and says, "I know you're not choosing me, and I'm not choosing you either." The exes definitely aren't on good terms in present day and get into a disagreement over Alex's lies during the reunion. Ashley also brings up how Alex wanted someone who was brunette and continued to bring up physical features, proving that he probably wasn't open to the reality of the experiment. Now, let's talk about Brittany and Devontae, since the latter called off their engagement before the big day. Brittany says she still wanted to fight for the relationship and felt gaslit by how long Devontae dragged things out. He continued to reassure her that he wanted to be together, even though he had already made up his mind about ending things. At one point, Devontae even told her he was heading out on a work trip, but in reality, he had left town to attend a concert with a few of the women from the Ohio Pod Squad. When asked about their current love life, Brittany reveals that she's single, while Devontae is engaged and about to be a father. That is definitely a twist I didn't see coming. Finally, we have Mike and Emma, who made it all the way to the altar before things fell apart. At the reunion, Mike admits that he was surprised by Emma's "I do," as they had previously discussed that their stances on kids were just too different to look past. However, Emma reveals that saying yes at the wedding was her way of committing to having children. It sounds like there may have been some miscommunication, but all in all, Mike didn't want to take the chance that Emma would change her mind. He then revealed that he has a girlfriend of 7 months sitting in the audience. Looks like quite a few people found love outside of the pods this season. Alright guys, now that Love is Blind Season 10 has come to a close, what are your thoughts? And which previous participants were you most excited to see in the audience? Let us know in the comments down below, and don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and follow our channel for the latest news. I'm your host, Rachel. You can find me at RachFurch on Instagram and TikTok, and I'll see you in the next video.